Hi, everybody, and welcome to the full moon in Aries, which is happening on October 9th. On October 9th, we will have a full moon in Aries at 16 degrees Aries, 33 minutes at 4:55 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to Google to find out what time the full moon is happening where you live. The full moon is a time for culmination. It's a peak of energy, and probably it is a culminating energy that was started for you either at the previous full moon, or since this is the full moon in Aries, it could have been something you started even 6 months ago. The sun and the moon stand across from each other in the sky. The sun is the yang, the moon is the yin. The sun beams its light over to the moon. The moon reflects its light back to the sun. This is the essence of divine feminine and divine masculine energy, and it allows us to reveal unresolved issues to ourselves and it helps us to deal with them. Hopefully, each month, the planetary energy is such that you can resolve these types of issues. The full moon is always a good time to get rid of negative patterns and toxic thoughts if you can identify them and if you're ready to work on them. It's an excellent time to release the wasted emotions, guilt, fear, jealousy, and disappointment. And the trick here is that you have to link the guilt, fear, jealousy, or disappointment to either an event or a relationship that was in the past, or to something that you're not willing to do now. Once you can make that link, then you can begin to work on releasing it. The October full moon at 16 Aries 33 in the sign of Aries is going to give us a new beginning. The sign of Aries is male. It's a fire sign. It's a cardinal sign, which means it likes to start things, and it's ruled by the planet Mars. Moon in Aries, what is it? It's impulsive, it's bold, energetic, it's passionate, it has initiative, it's courageous, it's reckless, it's quick-tempered, but it's also quick to cool off. Now, who do we know who has moon in Aries? And as you know, every month I comb the internet and I try to find somebody who actually has the moon in the sign that we're studying, as an example. So this month, as I looked for moon in Aries, and I am partial to putting women in this category, I found an excellent example of somebody who not only has their moon in Aries, but their sun in Libra. And that is Kamala Harris, our vice president. Now, she happens to be the first female biracial vice president of the United States, which is an awesome title. And she has her sun at 27 degrees of Libra and her moon at 27 degrees of Aries. So not only is she a Libra with her moon in Aries, but she was actually born at the exact full moon. Let's take a look at her chart. So I've overlaid the chart of this full moon on Kamala Harris' chart, and I don't see a lot of tremendous interactions here, but I'll see if I can't point out a couple. One is that Mercury is at a kind of critical point for her. It's at 27 degrees Virgo. And while that makes a quincunx to her moon and nothing to her sun, let's see if it does anything else. It does make a trine to her Jupiter. So she'll have some successful discussions and negotiations at the time of this full moon. And you can't pick a time on this, so it doesn't have the sun and the moon at the exact same degrees, but let's just say that the moon and the sun are probably going to be more like at 16 degrees each of Aries and Libra. So that would put them very close to her Venus, again, in the quincunx position. So again, not real dramatic. Yeah, I don't think that this full moon actually is going to do a lot with her chart. But let's just look at her chart in general. So she has Saturn and Vesta very close to her midheaven. meaning that Saturn is guaranteeing that she's going to reach a very high level in her profession. And I think Vice President of the United States is pretty darn high. And Vesta represents the hearth, the home. And our country really reveres the homeland. So this gives us a connection with our country. Her moon at 27 degrees Aries is a strong moon. And people who are born at the full moon very often just don't listen to anybody else's advice. They learn things, they listen to their intuition, they come into situations where they need advice, they ask for advice, and then they do their own thing. She has Venus and the Sun conjunct in Libra in the 5th house. So this is a person who really knows how to have fun. She has the moon in her 11th house, so she's not averse to working with groups. In fact, in groups, she probably becomes a leader. I don't think she was even in the Senate very, very long before she got named to some very prestigious committees, and she showed herself to be a real exceptional person when it came to committee work because she was such a great attorney general. She was not afraid to ask tough questions, and she was not put off by unusual or evasive answers. She really just kept going after them. She has Neptune in her 6th house, so we don't really know a lot about her day-to-day life and transactions or her health. But I would say that is as long as she is keeping herself healthy in general, that she probably will be fine. She has Mars, transiting Mars, sitting on her ascendant. So probably the reason we're not seeing her in the news very often right now is because she's too darn busy. She's just going all the time. So that's Kamala Harris' chart. She has an excellent chart. You know, a really well-rounded person. She's got stuff all over her chart here. She's got the Mars here going up towards Saturn, but not so, let's see, is that conjunct? Is that an opposition? Yeah, so she's got Mars opposition Saturn, so she's used to hard work. It doesn't bother her to work hard. She feels that she's going to work as hard as the next guy so that she can get the job done. And I got to tell you, her Saturn is almost in the 10th house. My Saturn is almost in the 10th house. This gives you the capability of great determination and the ability to just keep working towards a goal and never giving up. Also, she's coming to almost a Saturn return. She's pretty much in the Saturn return year with Saturn retrograde in Aquarius transiting up here, coming very close to her natal Saturn. Probably by the end of the year, it'll be right there. So that means that she's going to be, again, taking stock of her life and seeing what does she want out of her life and assessing whether she has achieved her goals or not. I'd say that she has achieved her goals in spades. And it's not unusual for somebody who has Saturn towards the midheaven or in the 10th house to have a fairly easy time of the Saturn returns. They're not nearly as hard as people who have other placements. So that's Kamala Harris, and she's our person of the month, person of the full moon, who is born on the full moon in Aries. Now let's look at the full moon chart for the upcoming full moon. So we've got Sun and Venus conjunct in Libra, opposing this full moon, which is also conjunct Chiron. This is a healing moon. Venus gives healing energies with the sun is healing energies, and the moon, especially with Chiron, is tremendous healing energy. So there's a lot of healing energy going on here. But I think the caveat is with these two little groups opposing each other is that you have to want it. You have to ask for it. You have to identify it and say, I want that. We also have Mars trining the sun and Saturn trining the sun, Venus trining Saturn, Mars trining Saturn. So Mars is sending out very helpful beams to all of this. And in that way, Mars can help facilitate healing too. So this is a very, very healing moon. There is very little that is tough about this moon. The moon does oppose Venus, right? We know that. And Mercury opposes Jupiter. That's a little off kilter there. That's not quite lined up with the sun and the moon, but it's a very, very strong full moon. During the Aries full moon, we're looking for the culmination of the Aries new moon, which took place last spring. A good use of this Aries energy is to begin something new. Of course, the energy from the past is culminating, and you will want to enjoy that gathering or harvest, but you also need to finish or let go of whatever that project encompasses. The best way to let go is to begin something new. Most of the time, we don't want too many projects going on at once, so it's best to wrap up one thing before beginning another. The Aries energy is aggressive, impulsive, dramatic, and impatient. So Aries often believes that it can do anything and that there are no limits to their abilities. With this mindset, they do get into trouble. So with this full moon, be sure that you adequately wrap up your last project, let it go, and then move on to something else. This year, the Aries full moon is the prelude to our third eclipse of the year, which takes place at the next lunation. That eclipse will allow us to release anything in our lives which no longer serves. But even before that, the full moon in Aries will be looking for something to harvest, something that has come to fruition, a culmination or peak of some kind. Aries is impatient, and the fact that you've waited since last spring to get this harvest means you're just itching to find out if the harvest came in or not. So look within your life for wherever you planted seeds last spring and see what's coming up. During this full moon, there is a lot of interaction with Saturn. Saturn is still retrograde, but it will be going direct nearer to the end of the month. Still, this retro Saturn lends stability to all the planets at the time of this moon. Rather than the Aries energy taking us all over the place in fits and starts, the Saturn influence will allow us to appreciate the maturation process and the bounty, and to experience an appreciation for having waited patiently for this harvest. We also have tremendous energy from Chiron opposite Venus, which encourages healing, letting go of emotional hurts, and recognizing your true identity. If you planted seeds last spring with the hope of healing a major trauma or hurt in your life, that healing may get completed at the time of this full moon. This Aries full moon is a wonderful time to give gratitude for everything that blesses you, all your family and loved ones, your job, your health, etc. And also exult at the joy of bringing in this harvest. Whether this has to do with an actual harvest of crops, a family milestone, a project at work, or a payoff from a lawsuit, you will be grateful for the result at the time of this full moon. And now we're going to go on to predictions for all the signs. And the first sign up is Aries. So Aries, this is your full moon. This is taking place in your first house, where you will have Jupiter, Chiron, and the moon, and your seventh house, where you will have Libra, Sun, and Venus. So having Jupiter in your first house makes you think big and feel big. So don't be surprised if you feel like you need to lose a few pounds, because Jupiter often brings weight gain when it transits the first house. But Chiron and the moon are both healing energies. The moon is more personal. Chiron allows you to take a more dispassionate view of your health, and also allows you to identify things in your subconscious or past traumas that need to be healed. Jupiter would, of course, lend its beams to this process, but Jupiter is not known for being really a healer. Jupiter is known for expanding things and bringing luck. The Sun and Venus in your seventh house means that your partner is probably gifting you with things from time to time. They're loving on you and they're showing you their appreciation. If you can involve your partner in this healing process, you will really benefit at the time of this full moon. So go into a little meditation, figure out what it is that needs to be healed and what needs to be harvested, and then share that news with your partner and get on with it. Taurus. This full moon, Taurus, will take place in your 12th house, and the Sun and Venus will be in your 6th house. This means that your dreams and your subconscious will be the source of healing for you at this time. Jupiter will also be there, enhancing the healing beams of Chiron and the moon. Chiron allows you to look at the energies and emotional qualities that are holding you back and heal them. The moon allows you to be in touch with your emotions and to understand your emotions. Jupiter just makes things bigger and brings a lot of luck. So I would suggest that you write down your dreams or do some meditations or just take a long walk. And when you get done, write down what you feel might be holding you back or what you feel you're overly sensitive about. These are the areas that you can work on. With the Sun and Venus in the 6th house, weave into your daily routine ways of healing the things you identified on your walk. This is the easiest way to do healing, a little bit at a time. Mind over matter is not just a saying. It is the way we can really heal the body. So focus on healing, focus on asking for energies from the universe, from whoever you want, and get on with your healing. Gemini. Gemini, this full moon is taking place in your 11th house, and the Sun and Venus will be in your 5th house. This is great news to you because this is all fun. The 11th and the 5th house are both very social houses, so you'll be having fun with friends on the one hand, and you'll be doing things with groups on the other. With Jupiter, Chiron, and the moon in the 11th house, I would venture to say that you may be a part of a group who is interested in alternative ways of healing. Chiron is all about healing. It's called the wounded healer. And the moon is also about healing, but in a different way, on a more emotional level. So if you are a part of a group, and I'm guessing that you are, it probably is a group that focuses on learning new techniques for healing, or maybe improving something like Reiki that everybody already does. The 5th house with the Sun and Venus is purely for fun and social. So this is going to be a really social full moon for you, Gemini, but it's one that you can also incorporate in with healing. Cancer. Cancer, this full moon is taking place in your 10th house with Jupiter, Chiron, and the moon being up there, and the Sun and Venus being in your 4th house. So this is the home life and the career. Jupiter in your 10th house always brings rewards, promotions, and benefits. So I would say in your career, you're doing really well right now. Now, it would be even better if that career had something to do with healing of some kind. Chiron, the wounded healer, always wants to bring you relief if there is anything within your psyche or your body that you are suffering with. The moon is also a healing entity. So once you can identify the wound or the past trauma, the moon and Chiron can work to help you heal it. The Sun and Venus will help you too. They're in opposition with Chiron, but the Sun and Venus at this point are showing you that the wound or the trauma that you're identifying is also hurting your home life, your family life. So it's important for you to be whole. It's important for you to heal. And the Sun and Venus are also going to assist in this process. Leo. Leo, this full moon is taking place in your 9th to your 3rd house. So Jupiter, Chiron, and the moon are in your 9th house, and the Sun and Venus are in your 3rd house. So I'm going to start with the 3rd house. The Sun and Venus are really jazzing up and charging up all of your communications and ideas. Anything that you want to use for communication will be enhanced and successful with Sun and Venus there. Very successful. Jupiter, Chiron, and the moon in your 9th house means that you will be making big plans to launch something stupendous, something that may have to do with healing or with feminine energies in general. The 9th house means that you are either planning on launching a world tour or something on the internet, or a new YouTube channel or something on social media, or you're going to space, or you're going into law, or you're going into publishing. Any of those areas could be affected. Jupiter gives you luck and expands whatever it is you're trying to do. Chiron is trying to heal anything in your subconscious or in a physical wound or an emotional wound that needs to be healed. And the moon is opening you up to understanding these emotions and energies. So it's going to be a wonderful full moon for you, Leo. Aries and Leo are sister signs or brother signs because they're both male. And I think that you're going to really, really benefit from all of the healing energies from this full moon. Virgo. Virgo, this full moon is taking place in your 8th house where Jupiter, Chiron, and the moon reside, and your 2nd house where the sun and Venus reside. So this full moon is really focusing on finances for you. With Jupiter, Chiron, and the moon in the 8th house, this means that your joint finances are about to get a big boost. Either all of your investments are going to go up, 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 or you're going to take a look at your portfolio and decide that you want to change things around. Either way, it's going to be a positive outcome on your ledger. The 2nd house with Sun and Venus in it means that you probably are going to be getting a raise or an extra stream of income that starts coming in. This is really good news for you, Virgo. I'm sure you always think that you could use more money, and that's definitely what's going to be coming in now with this full moon. So make sure that you have made your plans and requests to the universe saying, yes, I want that money now. Put it right here. Here's my routing number. Libra. Libra, this full moon is happening in your 7th house with the sun and Venus happening in your 1st house. So Jupiter, Chiron, and the moon in your 7th house means that you're going to be doing some healing and expansion with your family. This could mean that the expansion part for your family could mean that you're welcoming somebody new into the family via pregnancy or adoption or fostering or even a new pet. With Sun and Venus in the 1st house, it means that you are feeling particularly terrific right now. So if you are welcoming a new baby into the family, if you're the one who's pregnant, you're going to feel really beautiful and loved all at the same time at the time of this full moon. Now, if you're going under any kind of procedures in order to get pregnant, those procedures are going to be successful around the time of this full moon. If you're not looking to have a baby in your family, but you are a Libra rising, then I'm going to say that Jupiter, Chiron, and the moon are putting a focus on your relationship and healing it. That there's something about the relationship that needs to be expanded, but also needs to look into the sensitivities and emotions and energies between the two of you and allowing them to get healthier. So you may be going to therapy, or you may be meditating together, or you may be going for, stone massages. But in some way, you're going to be healing things in your relationship, and it's going to come out really, really positive. Scorpio. This full moon is happening in your 6th house with the sun and Venus in your 12th. So let's talk about the 6th house first. So with Jupiter, Chiron, and the moon governing your 6th house, this has to do with your health and also your daily routines. And I usually also say that it has something to do with the job that you work at, because that is something that most people do almost daily. With Jupiter and the moon in the 6th house, this could mean that you have personnel coming and going. You could have a big turnover of people at this time. And especially if you are working in an area that has to do with health, any kind of a health area, even like a massage place, a spa, a gym, a doctor's office, any kind of medical facility, even eye doctors, any kind of medical or alternative healing place, you're going to have a turnover in personnel during this full moon. The 12th house sun and Venus just shows me that you should be writing down your dreams right now, and you should be paying attention to any sort of intuitive hunches that you get and write them down. Just keep a little notepad with you for the time of this full moon and write down all the little impressions that you get, because that's going to be important. Sagittarius. Sag, this full moon is taking place in your 5th house to your 11th house. In the 5th house, we have the moon, Chiron, and Jupiter. And in the 11th house, we have the sun and Venus. Jupiter, Chiron, and the moon in the 5th house means that you're going to have fun. You're going to have big, goofy fun with kids, probably. So relax, enjoy this. This is from one of your brother signs, Aries. So the moon is going to be very, very favorable for you. It's going to make you relax and enjoy yourself and kick back and probably laugh harder than you've laughed in a very, very long time. Jupiter guarantees a good time and the moon makes you goofy. So between the two of them, you're going to have a really good time. Couple that with Chiron, and that laughter and enjoyment and relaxation is going to be very, very healing for you and probably your family too. With the sun and Venus in the 11th house, this could involve a group that you're a part of. That group may or may not be a part of like a vacation club or anything, but whatever activity that you participate in, there's probably going to be more than just your family around, and you're all going to have a really good time. So enjoy this full moon, Sagittarius. No big harsh emphasis for you at all. Just enjoy, enjoy. Capricorn. This full moon is happening in your 4th house with the sun and Venus in your 10th house. Jupiter, Chiron, and the moon are in your 4th house, which means that your household is about to expand. You're either going to welcome in a newcomer to the house, and I don't really think that in this case that would be a baby, but it could be a baby. It could be a foster child. It could be somebody just coming and staying for a few weeks. It could be a new pet. It could be somebody coming to visit from overseas. But you're going to have an expansion of people under your roof. In addition, Chiron and the moon want you to heal something. So you're also going to have to deal with things coming up from the subconscious, old wounds, old traumas that you need to heal. But I think that this full moon is going to give you the means of healing them. Sun and Venus in Libra in the 10th house show that in your career, you're doing really, really well. Your career, you're going to get a bonus or a raise. You're going to have a promotion of some kind. It's really going to be a very positive time at your job. And part of this is going to be part of the healing. A big fear maybe is lifted. A big anxiety or tension is taken off your shoulders during this full moon because of the Sun-Venus connection and also because of Chiron and the moon in the 4th. So enjoy this, Capricorn. Good luck to you. Congratulations if that's in order. And let's move on to the next sign. Aquarius. So Aquarius, this full moon is happening in your 3rd house, and you'll have the Jupiter, Chiron, and the moon in the 3rd house, and Sun and Venus in the 9th house. With Jupiter, Chiron, and the moon in your 3rd house, you're going to be thinking up big ideas. Everything that comes to mind for you, Aquarius, is going to be large because of Jupiter there. It's also going to be healing. Through the message of your communication, you are going to be giving out information for people to be able to heal themselves. And with the moon there, you'll be very, very sensitive to feminine audiences. You have the sun and Venus in the 9th house. So of course, you're going to take these communications and consolidate them and spread them all over the globe through 9th house activity. So the 9th house could have you publishing a book, going on the internet, writing a blog, doing a website, having a YouTube channel, going on social media. It could have you going out to outer space. It could have you publishing something in the legal journals because the law is also ruled by the 9th house, or even in foreign countries, or all of that. So Aquarius, when you start thinking big, the ideas that you have shape the world. So I would not be surprised at all if you put something out over the internet, it was a viral success, and it just changed your life. With the Sun and Venus up there in the 9th house, that really could happen. And now Pisces. Pisces, this full moon is happening in your 2nd house with the Sun and Venus in your 8th house. This is an exceptional set of planetary arrangements for your monetary situation. So Jupiter is going to expand your money. It's going to bring you more money. Chiron and the moon are going to help you heal any issues you have about money or your self-worth or the resources and skills and talents that you actually have. So very healing, but at the same time, increasing your bank account. Sun and Venus in the 8th house also mean good things for your joint finances. So if there's anything there between you and your partner that needs to be fixed, Sun and Venus are going to fix it, and then it's going to improve. So your joint resources are going to increase and improve, and your personal finances are going to increase and improve. Win-win all around, Pisces. Good for you. So for everybody, I just want to say thank you for watching this quick video about the full moon in Aries, and best of luck for everybody. Enjoy that full moon thoroughly. Be sure to watch my video about the solar eclipse in Scorpio that is coming up at the end of October, and I will see you next time.